Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and today, oof is the word of the day. Oof is the word of the day. I want to just talk a little bit about how I'm doing. Had some ups and downs lately, some downs like my phone broke. Well, it didn't break right away. Stopped charging, and then I had to, pray that I could make the battery last for long enough until I got my new phone to make transferring and everything a little bit easier. But what does this have to do with the review that I'm about to do? Basically, I'm trying to say that I'm not in a bad mood lately. Actually, I'm in a pretty good mood lately with everything outside of Wotv. And with that, we can transfer back into Wotv and talk about this shit. Yeah. So today we're here to talk about Helena, the new double cost UR here on the JP side, a dark elemental mage that I would describe as an oof in the game. Whether or not this unit turns out to be in good as battle as someone like Yuna, who is hardened and tested and really a force to still be reckoned with on the JP side, it kind of needs to be seen. And what I mean by that is, like, I don't want to call it too early because obviously when it comes to Wotv, some of the big things is like, well, AI, like what about AI? What about how the unit actually handles itself in battle? And those are always big things, but I have to admit that just taking a look immediately at Helena, she is basically the perfect unit on paper. Not necessarily because she is unkillable, which is something that a lot of people usually jump upon me when I do my reviews, like, oh, yeah, Umbra can be beaten. Well, thank you for setting the lowest bar possible, because if a unit couldn't be beaten, well, we'd have a problem, wouldn't we? Either the same copy, or two people with the same unit would just, never have a never-ending battle, or it could only be killed by the same unit, and that would be a really big problem in this game. However, taking a look at Dark Helena, which is what I'm just going to preface it, her as being probably in most of my videos, because that's pretty easy to understand. I have to say that I do think that she is basically the perfect unit on paper with very little downside, and I do mean that. I think that this unit is probably going to be generally bad for the game, if not by herself, then in combination with some other units. But anyway, Altimer has given her basically a perfect rating, and I'm inclined to agree. So let's take a look at what's going on here. All right, so taking a look at her jobs, first of all, she has a brand new main job, which is Witch in Black. Secondary job is Magic Swordsman, and tertiary is Arithmetician, meaning that she has great farming potential. Anyone who's played this game knows that Arithmetician is like the perfect farmer. Large AoEs, instant spell casting, does a good amount of damage, but Ildira, as well as other arithmeticians, have always felt a little bit in check in terms of how much damage they can actually dish out. And here we're not seeing that, because you can probably already see about Dark Helena's magic stat, and I would like to just compare to Yuna, who is a top tier magic damage dealer. Yeah, and something also to note is the fact that this unit does have a Bahamut 3 stars, fully max, basically. Whereas Dark Helena has Diablos, which, don't get me wrong, is a good summon, but if you take a look at Diablos' stats versus if you take a look at Bahamut's stats, yeah, I mean, Dark Helena is pushing a definitely higher tier. And she's double cost. I get that. I get that, double cost units should have better stats than a regular tier character, but versus a regular tier limited character, that's a bit of more of maybe a dicey proposition that we're going to get into. But let's take a look at her main kit, because Helena's main kit is the one that's probably the most interesting. Drain is one of her first abilities, absorbs non-attribute damage, and gives her back some HP. So yeah, that's a good start. It's small, but given her magic stat, I don't think that will be much of a problem. Dark, second ability, which is dark damage. Small. Both of these two abilities that I mentioned have pretty good 4 to 5 range, or I think it's like sorry, I think it's like 3 or 4 range on them, which is still just pretty good. And 12 to 13 AP cost is both pretty low. Next ability is Savor, increased accuracy of allies within range centered around Helena uh, for 3 turns and shortens activation time of own abilities. So not only can she buff allies, giving them better aim, which is sometimes a problem, but she also just removes activation time, which is incredibly nice, or reduces it. Sorry. Demon Destruction, an AoE ability that has, I think, 4 range on it. Hard to see from the tiny picture. But 3 uses, 36 AP. After destroying the barrier that reduces magic damage, deal non-elemental damage to the targets within range. Pretty damn strong. Has some non-elemental options, not just confined to dark like I thought she'd be, but Witch's Darkness, which is a diamond AoE with basically Lord Mont's kind of range on it. After the target spirit is down within range for 3 turns, deal magic damage, medium, 36 AP. Pretty darn strong cast, and it has a casting of 120, but there are, some good options for removing some of these people's casting time. So a little bit scary when you give these kind of units just really powerful abilities. Taking a look at the sub part of her job, she has Dark 2, which is a 2 consecutive hit damage ability that is medium damage. Fuse, which is AoE. Dara, which is a dark-based magic spell, small but does hit AoE. Chance to attack and increase, make a unit inoperable. Sorry. And of course, the brand new counter ability that's going to be on this, Counter Energy, aptly named, and a bit of a tongue twister when you're just doing a review. Recovers own AP with a probability when damaged. So either taking physical or magical damage, there's a chance that Helena that will actually regenerate AP. Haven't tested this, don't know how much it is, but it feels almost as strong as Yuna's. Yuna's is more of a keep herself alive. This could be more of a you hit me, I'm going to flatten you. And we'll talk about why counter is good a little bit later, but needless to say, I think this is continuing on. The Secret of the Witch, greatly increase magic power and reduce spirit. And by the way, I do note that obviously this build does have the winter coat on it, which does boost magic power. Powerful maybe. Magic Swordsman, Bio Sword, Dark Sword, Magic Resist, Dark I think is what it translates out to. Sword. Attract spell, which I don't think you'd ever really want to use, but that's fine. Oh yes, and I skipped a little bit because I got distracted by the coat, but returning to her main job, her new support skill for this class is going to be greatly increase magic power and reduce spirit. So think of basically Soldier's ability, but instead of being for physical power, you're now using it for magical power, which is scary, and definitely one of the ones equipped. Yeah. So that's also probably giving her a big magic boost, but it does count. And last but not least, Arithmetician. If you play the game, you know how good this ability is. She has the height abilities. She has a lot of the damage abilities. Only thing that I'm noticing that isn't in her kit in Arithmetician is Holy. But she does have healing spells, so that is going to also make her very strong, seeing that you can get really nice stats on her. She has really good speed, and you'll have instant access to AoE. Heal, I don't see why there's any reason why you wouldn't wanting to be running Arithmetician most of the time, since it's just going to make Dark Helena here an amazing. And of course, she has the height and level modifiers that normally go along with this. As I just kind of scroll back up here, her EX job performance, her large AoE is the one that gets a big improvement. Not only does it reduce darkness damage and deal darkness damage medium, but also AP after mental down for target within 3 turns. So it gives it a little bit more of a debuff and makes a large AoE even stronger. Good news on that is it's casting time 200. Kind of scary. And as for her greatly increased magic power and lowered spirit, that gets an upgrade into her 120 that also decreases activation time. So there's another part of the puzzle completing her kit a little bit more. And her newest skill that she gets for EX is a Judgment of Black Rose, non-elemental magic damage, and within range, medium damage, large range on it. I think 4 or quite possibly 5. Don't fail me, but is a sure hit ability. So let's go over that. She has large AoEs. She has debuffs in her kit. She has drain. She has heals. She has the best kind of farming kit or farming job in the entire game, plus her own. And she also is like sure hit abilities. This unit is tippity top tier. Continuing down to her limit burst, Shadow Rose, magical power, dependent damage, large after darkness down for 3 turns. So she's a darkness enabler. I think she's going to be really good along with a ton of other dark units. I think that Garble is going to be her best friend, possibly slave. But regardless, just a really powerful unit. And her master ability, as I've said before, not only gives her magic resistance penetration, but also gives her an extra 10% magic power. So overall, her kit is really quite insane for all of that. But last but not least, Team R, Black Rose Headdress, 298 HP, 5 quickness, 58 magic power on this thing. But its ability, establish a barrier to reduce damage to yourself 3 times and increase speed for 3 turns. So not only does it make her more survivable, or potentially other units more survivable, but it also gives a speed increase. I don't know, why didn't you just give it regenerate all AP just to make it really truly the bear? Regardless, I think that this TMR is absolutely insane and rounds out her kit even more than you already did. And this is the part that I think makes her really actually better than Yuna, is the fact that her TMR does give her survivability, meaning that she can regenerate AP from getting damaged, and then also, you know, have speed increase, have barriers that it's like, it's not even 1 trigger, it's 3 triggers on this thing. And yeah, I mean, it has magic power on it. It's just insane. I think that everything about Dark Helena's kit points her to being the most powerful character in the game right now. Obviously, you know, there are team compositions, teams that are going to be good against this, and there will be content that is not favorable to her. But if you want to talk about like what I think about this unit, I think that she's going to be absolutely great everywhere, because not only is she an incredibly powerful mage with really good mage stats, but she also she can like hold her own in PvP and enable other units incredibly well in PvP. Some really strong units already in PvP. She has just good stats across the board, and great abilities, AoE abilities, large damage abilities, just power in every facet. You have options for how you want to build her, and that doesn't even just get into the fact that her TMR is just nuts. I think it's in the running for one of the best TMRs in the game, depending on what the percentages are, and we'll have to take a look at that when Wotv Calc updates. But this is just one of the strongest units. Thankfully, does have some weaknesses in her kit. If we look down, piercing and strike is a weakness to her, but not a ton here. We are really looking, I think, at just the strongest unit in the game for every piece of content, because I think she can be great PvP, and I think she can be great in farm, which is why right now just going to take a swing at this, and we're going to take a swing at this with almost no units in the party. And you may be wondering why. Well, I kind of want to have this little competition, because Lord Mont isn't going to be like really influential in this fight, not terribly, but you know, he might soak up a few hits, and really kind of just pitting Yuna against Helena here to see who comes out on top. But yeah, I do think that this unit is really quite insane. I think she just has really great skills. Looks like her AI is well suited enough to realize that her TMR skill is a really, sorry, really good ability. And obviously, like, there are times where, you know, I think this unit's not going to be that good, and I think this unit's not going to excel at certain content. But if you think about, like, how good your arithmetician is, some people have Halloween Leela, some people have Ildira, because she is just a permanent farmer in this game. And that is just unbelievably valuable in this game because you always are going to be farming. You always need access to just being able to hit units and dish out damage and everything. And the more damage you're consistently doing, the better, kind of thing, right? So here, as you can see, we're kind of just going around here. And keep in mind, this is not with her arithmetician. She just nuked a ton of people and decreased their AP, and also just got a ton. Like, I really do think that this unit is just the best. The real question here, who is Mashari gonna die to? Like, I feel like I'm just echo chambering myself, and obviously it will take a little bit of time to see how she shapes the meta and everything. But I do think, much like Yuna, who has come before her, potentially on a team with Yuna, with Lord Mont or with Gilgamesh, just put like a really strong 120 with this girl and Yuna as well, and you might just have the best by a considerable amount. So yeah, I really don't think that there's too much to talk about here. This unit is really great. I think she is one of the best units we've ever seen, and she'll probably be a problem that another unit will have to come along and eventually counter. But to end off this video, I am going to just take a peek here and show you guys what her limit burst looks like. I know that you've probably seen it in a few other places, but we'll just show it off here. So the last thing to talk about is whether or not I recommend this unit. And I mean, you'd probably be thinking, well, how could you not recommend this unit? How can this not be the new, oh, forget everything global, pull for this unit only? For a couple of reasons. One, while she is unconditionally good, she is she's not a limited time unit at all. But secondly, the speed up of double cost units, is really something that we need to be watching for, and I think that it is going to happen again. I think that in March, or before the 1 year anniversary, I think we will see one, if not two more double cost URs, because this game basically seems to be going more along the route of, we have a smaller fan base, so we are just going to squeeze as much money as possible. And that is what feels like is kind of happening, because we've just had limited unit, collaboration, limited, and then double cost. Oh, but don't worry, rule in the middle of all of this was a regular cost unit. Huzzah! But yeah, I think that this unit is the best one that we've ever seen. I think that everything here is just great. So if you want to get her, I can't fault you for it, but I really don't like the precedence of what feels like power creep. I've seen a lot of strong units, and Yuna, I was willing to say, was probably a little bit too good, but I do feel that this one might be a little bit more power creep than previous. Hard to say. Anyway, so that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of Dark Helena's kit, and if I'm overreacting or anything. But yeah, thanks for watching. Take care.